So, hello and welcome to the We Will Listen podcast. Today with us we have Miss Priyashi Srivastava. She's a professional psychologist and a cognitive behavioral therapist. And today with her, we are going to discuss some of the general perceptions of mental health, how some of them are wrong, and what generally the information of mental health that we are misguided towards, which only and only a professional helper can guide us rightly towards. So, first of all, welcome to the podcast, ma'am. And today, I'll not beat around the bush and let's just get into the main crux of the podcast. So, first of all, the first question I want to discuss with you is what is the difference that people don't know? First of all, most people don't know that there is some good level of professional help in India. And within that professional help too, there exists certain different categories, such as there are psychologists, there are psychiatrists, and there are cognitive behavioral therapists, and psychologists and therapists mostly do the same work. But I just want to hear it from you. What are the differences between the basic differences between a psychologist and a psychiatrist, and what are the people misguided, or what do the people misinterpret?
Well, yeah, thank you so much for conducting this podcast, firstly. And this is a wonderful question.
Thank you, ma'am.
But before jumping to, that I have to answer this question, I really want to talk about something before that.
Definitely.
And that is the significance of our mental health.
Definitely.
Why mental health is important. Yeah. And when we talk about mental health, we are focusing on our mind.
Yes.
So people usually have a lot of confusion and a lot of, misinterpretation about what mind is.
Yes.
People do not know that there is a particular thing called mind. What all that they do know is about brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whenever we have, suppose we are, we are communicating via laptop right now.
Yeah.
So this laptop has hardware and it has a software as well.
Yeah.
In fact, so many softwares here. So the hardware is actually our organs. So hardware is the brain. The wires which connect is our nervous system. And the operating system on which the entire application software runs in the laptop is our mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if there is some problem in the operating system, you would definitely reach out to someone who knows about softwares.
Definitely.
Right. And if there is a problem in the hardware, you would reach out to another kind of engineer.
Yeah.
Similarly, in life, it is important to reach out to a specialized expert of the particular organ or operating system, that is our mind,
Definitely.
whatever is needed.
Yeah.
So when we talk about mental health, we are basically talking about mind and this entire field of psychology, which involves so many professionals like psychiatrists, different kinds of psychologists, therapists, counselors, right?
Yeah.
All these do take care and do deal with mind.
Mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
was
coming to
yeah. Coming to the point. Yeah.
yeah. So our mind, it operates so many different tasks at one time. It operates our thinking, operates our behavior, operates our emotions, operates our memory, operates our decision making, and personality. So all these aspects are there in us, in all of us. And if there is someone who is struggling with any kind of aspects, the aspects that I just mentioned, then they must reach out to a professional in the field of psychology, because all these things are being taken care by the mind. So the issue is in the mind, not in the brain.
Oh. So that was actually a definition. Most people don't know the difference between the mind and the brain, the hardware and the software of the body, which was really well explained by you. So first of all, thank you for that, ma'am. And moving on from that question, when should a person reach out? What do you think is like the indicator that someone should reach out to a professional? What do you think is like, for example, I'm just living in my house normally, carrying out my daily activities. What can be an indicator to me that, oh, I need some professional help or the condition is serious. Because in India, we do not seek professional help for mental health, at least until it's like the it's very important. But we have to like realize that it's not in the very last critical moments that we have to consult a professional. There can be other building stages of a mental health disorder too, where we should reach out to a professional. So what do you think are the basic indicators that someone should take that they should consult a professional therapist or a psychologist?
That's a wonderful question, Rehan.
Thank you, ma'am.
And see, like our body and mind
Yeah.
continues to communicate with us all the time. If I'm feeling hungry, I would know that this is my body giving me signals that I must eat.
Yeah.
If I'm drowsy, I'll get to know, okay, I need sleep. Right? So
Yeah.
whatever our body needs, it communicates with us through some kind of signals or signs.
Okay.
Yeah. Similarly, our mind also communicates with us in the form of mental visuals, in the form of thoughts and emotions. Yeah. So we must always be aware enough. We must be mindful enough. We must be aware, alert enough to acknowledge what our mind is trying to speak with us.
Definitely.
Right. So the kind of stress that we experience in life is the very first signal, is the very first sign that mind tries to communicate with us that there is something that needs to be addressed.
Okay.
But we tend to postpone it or procrastinate it. We tend to avoid that particular conflict in our life.
Definitely.
And that ends up becoming a bigger problem.
True.
Now the mind would attempt to communicate with us in different ways because the problem is still not addressed.
Yes. True.
Right? So it would take another way. It would think that, okay, I have given signs through the form of thoughts, through the form of overwhelming emotions, through a sleepless nights, through scary dreams, yet this person is not getting the point.
Yeah.
Okay, how about a headache? How about a stomach ache?
Okay.
How about back pains? Because I have noticed that whenever the body gives a signal, it listens. Okay, so let me speak to the body, let me speak to the organs, and let them give the signal. So the person would start experiencing some headaches. The person may say, okay, maybe I have got migraine. Okay, I must go out to the doctor.
Oh.
And then the new cycle would appear in the person's life, and they would find themselves going from one doctor to another, finding all the reports normal. By the end of the time, they would be, referred to a psychiatrist. And that's when they would be able to acknowledge, okay, so it is the mind that needed help, not the body.
Okay. So
Yeah.
basically,
So
first the thoughts, and then it moves on to your body. It affects your body and physical health. Okay.
it can be in any way. It can be thoughts, or it can be emotions, or it can be behavior.
Yeah.
Our mind is really complex. It is the
Definitely.
most complex instrument in the entire world.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we can't see it. We can't see what's happening in it.
Yeah.
Right. So we need to understand the mind in much better way, because it's our instrument. We must know how to use it. Yeah. So there are very few signs that I'll share right now, which can help the individual to understand when is the right time to reach out to a professional. Yeah.
Please, ma'am.
Firstly, if there is certain conflict in life or certain issues happening in life that someone is sharing with their loved ones or friends, and yet they're unable to find the solution. Right. So when they talk it out, they feel a little better, but after 2-3 days, they find themselves back to square one. And that becomes a pattern. If you are finding yourself in this kind of pattern where you're getting yourself back in the same situation and the issue is not being resolving, so reach out to a professional.
Okay.
Another point would be, there are 3 things which are really important: the intensity of your thoughts or emotions or any kind of undesired behavioral pattern, the frequency, and your duration. So intensity, frequency, and duration. These three are very important factors. So be it sleep issues, be it relationship issues, or anything else, be it thoughts, emotions, or any kind of behavioral pattern, focus on these three things.
Okay.
Yeah. And the third would be anything that has started to impact your occupational life, your personal life, your social life.
Okay.
So these are the 3 pointers that
Nice.
if all the 3 pointers are existing currently, then it's a red flag.
It's a
Reach
big
out
red
to the
flag.
professional right now. Yeah.
Definitely, and very well explained, ma'am. Honestly, it's the simplest way that someone like you can explain when a normal person, like honestly, most of the people, let's be honest, don't have a huge in-depth knowledge about mental health disorders or the mind in general, and like these are some of the signs which some of us might even face, and as you said, we choose to procrastinate or ignore them, which should not be ignored, because even though we'll say like, okay, it's not in its critical stage or it's a very initial stage, but a problem is best cured in its initial stages, because we cannot afford to let it grow over time, and then it affects our physical as well as it affects us
Right.
as a person, as human. So that was
True,
very
true.
well.
Like why to wait? Why to wait for
Exactly.
a particular small issue to become into a disorder? Why
Exactly.
wait?
And there's a huge chance if we don't get professional help that will grow, because honestly we as normal people, we don't know how to like settle down or how to control our emotions, let's just say, for example. So we don't know how to deal with such issues, and if we choose to ignore them, they'll just become worse, and at the end of the day we'll have to consult a professional at the end of the day as well. So why not consult them right now? So that was very well explained, ma'am. Thank you for that. And moving on to my next question, which is actually a very important one, which is excuse me. Yeah. So it is about what people perceive in India. Specifically, I'm talking about. It's very nuanced topic about mental health that, let's just say, in general, people don't want to talk about it with their families, with their friends, and it just becomes a topic of us. Let's just say a taboo. I don't like to use this word honestly, but it is what it is. The stage of mental health in India right now. So, what do you like have? What do you have to say about the state of mental health in general? Is it improving? Is it not improving? Is it better than the previous 10 years, which is actually it is, but still we need to improve as a community, as a lot, as an Indian society, we need to improve the emphasis on the mind. So what do you have to say about the state of let's just say the mental health, let's just say the state of mental health in India? What do you have to say about that?
Well, it's definitely improving.
It is. Okay.
And I want, instead of using the word improving, I think the appropriate word would be um, the awareness of the awareness regarding mental health is
Yeah,
improving.
definitely. Okay.
Yeah. So people in today's time are much more aware about what are the kind of issues they may go through, or
Hmm.
who are the people to reach out to. Because previously, like back from this generation to the previous generation that we had earlier, they didn't even know.
Yeah.
They didn't
True.
know that there is a field called psychology. They didn't know that they are going through some kind of disorder. They didn't know that if something is tolerable or should be tolerable or not.
Okay.
Yeah. So in today's time, people are much educated.
Aware.
People are much aware because of the social media as well. The
Definitely. This is
information
good
spreads
also.
really easily. So
Definitely.
this is the era. This is the era of raising the awareness, and I see a good future ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Hopefully enough. My next question to you would be about the general lifestyle of people, and what do you see are some of the flaws in in a normal person's lifestyle, let's just say, which lead to a bad mental health. We have already discussed that we should not ignore or procrastinate if we're going through something that affects our mind. But what are some of the unhealthy habits that one might see as normal, but they are actually unhealthy for the mind? What are some of the habits?
Well, uh, there are so many misconceptions related to mental health, related to things that we daily use in our life. For example, emotions.
Yeah.
Emotions are existing. It's there in all of us.
Yeah.
Yet we ignore because we don't understand them.
Yeah.
We attempt, or we think, or we believe that one must control emotions, but we shouldn't control emotions.
Okay.
Yeah. So this kind of belief comes from lack of awareness related, about emotions. Yeah.
Definitely.
So I never recommend anyone. I never train any one of my clients to control their emotions. Emotions are meant to be expressed.
Definitely.
That's why they exist, right? So
Yeah.
what's the point of controlling something?
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So like if there is something, for example, if I sleep, I'll wake up. If I wake up, I'll go back to sleep. So similarly, if I feel something, I'll express. But generally, people end up controlling them. They think controlling means not to do certain thing, or to stop doing certain thing, or
Yeah.
to do it by their choice.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's one of the biggest hurdles I have seen in my practice, that
Okay.
people have this kind of mentality that I can't control my emotion,
You
I
don't have.
can't control my anxiety, yeah,
Yeah.
I can't control my thoughts. But the truth is we can't control them, so
Definitely.
stop doing it. Yeah, half of the struggle would be gone.
Yes, actually. And that
Yeah.
is so true because obviously emotions are something which our conscious mind, let's just be honest, our conscious mind, we can't even like control them properly. And as you said, we should express them. Obviously, if you're feeling sleepy and you don't sleep, that would only cause harm to your body. Similarly, if you're feeling angry, you should not, like, obviously, you should control your anger in certain places where it might not be appropriate to express it, but you don't have to suppress the emotion of anger in general because that's the normal human state. And also I wanted to touch this topic about about something which is spreading these days at a huge rate, that is about controlling your sadness. You shouldn't be sad, you should feel happy 24/7, which is I term it as toxic positivity. It's a very actually extreme term to use, but it is going on right now. So I just wanted to clarify from you as well that it's a human mind, right? And it should feel all the emotions as we discussed, and we should express all the emotions that we feel. It's a very lame question, but is it possible to feel happy 24/7? Is it any way that someone can achieve a state of mind where he or she is happy 24/7? Because that's a mantra that is going on in the era of social media, you can say. So, is it possible to achieve that in a practical era?
Okay. So before talking, or before discussing about whether it is possible or not,
Yeah,
because it is just a possibility. A
yeah,
possibility means out of 100%, what is that 0.1 or 0.011%
definitely.
chances of this being true?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So before that, I would like to say that emotions or feelings tends to change.
yes.
Thoughts tends to change, emotions tends to change. Yeah.
Hmm.
And like just before this, you also talked about anger, that
Yes,
we should control anger at certain situations, but we should not suppress the emotion. I
yes,
would also like to say that anger is also an emotion. We
yes,
should not become biased with the anger,
yes,
right?
definitely.
So if like and this is a lovely question behind that, if it is okay to smile when you're happy,
Yes,
it should be okay to cry if you're sad,
exactly.
because sadness and happiness both are emotions.
Definitely.
So why to create the, you know
Exactly.
why to distinct them, why to become biased with,
One of them.
both of them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So same with anger. Problem is not the anger, problem is not the sadness, problem is the way you express them.
Yes.
So
Okay.
in therapies, we do not talk about one should control their anger or one should control their sadness. No, we talk about how you can express your anger or sadness in a constructive way.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are two ways to express any emotion, be it guilt, be it regret. These are very low frequency energy, emotions.
Yes, true.
Yeah, yeah. And whatever emotions you are feeling is actually communicable to the other person. So suppose, for example, if someone just opens the door and walks in with anger, you would be able to acknowledge, okay, something is wrong, something
Wrong.
just happened with this person. Yeah.
Definitely.
And if someone is just laughing and entering the room, you would think, okay, what's so funny,
Yeah, exactly.
right? So emotions are communicable. You can feel the person's energy. You would be able to know, okay, how this person is probably feeling.
Feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So expressing the emotions are never wrong. Feeling the emotions are never wrong. The wrong is to express these emotions in unhealthy way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So express the emotions. Learn how to express anger or sadness in a healthier way than what you already know.
Okay.
Yeah. So the toxic positivity, this term has been there, since ages now. Like it's been around, like so many years that this term has been there,
Yeah.
and it like this comes into place where people have zero or one thinking,
Okay.
as in all or none thinking. Yeah. So that is one of the cognitive errors that we talk about,
Okay.
that all of us have certain kind of cognitive errors. Like the way we think, there are certain errors in it. And then
Okay.
there are certain individuals who think that if I want something, I want it fully, or if I'm not able to get it fully, okay, leave it. I don't want it
Okay.
entirely. I want things to be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. अगर थोड़ा सा भी कुछ भी गड़बड़ हुआ तो
Then we'll leave it.
just leave it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So generally these are the kind of people who have such kind of cognitive errors within themselves, or this is the way they think, they perceive the world. These are the people who would say, okay, I'm smiling all the time.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it shows, it reflects that the kind of judgment they probably have in their mind related to other kind of emotions, and that's not really fair.
That is not fair. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. All the emotions which the person is feeling is its own emotions, right? It's not somebody else's.
Exactly.
Yeah. So respect your emotions and express them in the healthier way. So coming to the question, if there is a possibility if someone can remain in a joyful state or in a happy state, I think it is an individual's journey. There are, or there can be people who
Hmm.
can attain that state, but that would be like rarest of kind.
Definitely. That
Yeah, that
that's
would
such
require
a
a
hard
lot
state
of
of mind to
work.
achieve. In
That would require a lot of work.
Exactly. And yeah, very well explained, ma'am. Especially the line in which you talked about, it really like struck me. And I have been a believer of this too, that जब मैं खुश होने पे अपना 100% देके मुस्कुरा रहा हूँ and it's okay, तो जब मेरे दुखी होने पे रोना है तो वो गलत क्यों है? It's okay as well. When you're happy and you smile,
Correct.
it's very natural. So crying is also natural. When you're feeling the emotion of sadness, crying is also
True.
natural. You should not feel biased towards one emotion or the other. Like in this era, some people exactly they emphasize you should be happy, 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 but that's not. Uh, let's just say an ideal case. That might be an ideal case scenario. That's not a realistic case scenario. We cannot feel happy, happy, happy all the time. As you said, it's a very rare possibility. So it was very well explained, ma'am. And with this, I guess we are done with today's podcast. And it was really, really great having you. Honestly, I learned a lot from this podcast individually, and it was great having you, ma'am. Thanks a lot for joining us today. It was an honor.
Thank you so much, Farhan. And thank you everyone who has watched it or listened to it. And I would like to answer about the difference between psychiatrist and
Yes,
psychologist.
exactly. Coming to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so, psychiatrists are actually the medical doctors who are trained to understand what mind is, how it works, and how it is connected with other organs of the body, how
Okay.
it influences the body, and how the body influences the mind. So, body and mind, they are like, partners. They
Partners.
work simultaneously and they are able to influence each other as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So psychiatrists are medical doctors.
Doctor.
They can prescribe medications. They
Okay.
can offer therapies as well, but that is the psychiatrist's individual choice if they want to provide therapy or not, or how would they want to carry forward their practice. Yeah, but they have all the right to provide therapies and to provide medications.
Okay.
Yeah. On the other hand, there are several different kinds of psychologists, but I would just talk about, in general, what psychologists are.
Yeah.
So psychologists basically study human behavior. Yeah,
Okay.
they know, they are trained about how the mind works. They understand the mind really well, and they are capable of providing therapies. So therapy means helping someone or providing recovery or healing from a particular disorder,
Okay.
yeah, or from a particular problem.
Problem. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So clinical psychologists, they usually deal with mental disorders,
Okay.
right? And so they can be called psychotherapy therapists or therapists, you know.
In general. Yeah.
And then there are, yeah, and then there are counseling psychologists, there are rehabilitation psychologists. So
Okay.
in the entire journey of recovery and in the entire journey of dealing with certain problems in life, people can pursue help from such different psychologists based upon what kind of issue they are going through in their life.
Okay. So yeah, very well explained, ma'am. Actually, it clarifies one of the most misinterpretations, as we said it, the differences. And as you mentioned, you have to identify within yourself first of all what's the problem or the issue I'm dealing with, and then you have to decide which psychologist to consult, basically. So it also depends upon your
If
own,
someone is, yeah,
it also
yeah,
depends upon
and
your own ability to judge what I'm going through, right? Like I might be going through something, some issue in life, or I might be going through drug abuse. These are two very different topics. Someone might be going through a relationship problem. So I have to judge within myself as well, right? Whom to consult, basically, is what.
so if it's, and even if someone is unable to do so, that's okay.
Hmm,
Because the first step is reaching out to a professional, but to a professional who is an expert of mind, not of the body. Yeah,
definitely.
because there are still, like, especially in India, there are still so many medical doctors who would completely deny the existence of this field.
Okay.
Like in villages, in small cities, there are still such medical doctors. So they may not be able to guide you in that way, but you should be aware enough
Hmm.
to reach out to a professional in the field of psychology. Because if you have reached out to any kind of psychologist, they would definitely be helping you out. That whether you need medications,
Okay.
whether you need to go out to and get it checked with a psychiatrist, or you need a clinical psychologist, they would offer help.
Okay. So in the initial series, you can consult any psychologist. Basically, it's not that hard to. You
Or
can.
psychiatrist, yeah.
Yeah, you just have to consult someone
Yeah.
in the sphere of basic psychology and not consult a basic doctor, which is fair enough, which is actually a pretty big distinction. You should not consult just a normal doctor because obviously, as you said, there's a lot of misinterpretation, as we've already discussed it, in a lot of areas, especially in India. So yeah, with on that note, I guess we are done with the discussion, and it was really a fruitful discussion, as I said, and it was really great having you, ma'am. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So with this, we're done with another podcast. Thank you all for joining in us today, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.